This is lesson 1-10 from the Algebra Readiness textbook. For this lesson, you will need a pencil and your notes packet. Pause the video now to grab your things and do the study guide questions. Once those are complete, resume the video. All right, the first study guide question is -5 times -7. And in yesterday's lesson, we learned that if the signs are the same when you're multiplying, that your answer is always positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. The next one, 5 times -9, is a -45. When the signs are different, your answer is negative, because that's like 5 groups of -9. And if I'm repeatedly adding -9, I go further negative. The rules for division are the same as the rules for multiplication. So -156 divided by 12, one of them is negative, the other is positive. My answer is -13. -45 divided by -9, the signs are the same, so my answer is positive 5. The lesson target for today's lesson is that you will be able to name the coordinates and quadrants in a coordinate plane. We will graph points in the coordinate plane as well. If at the end of today's lesson you are unable to do those two things, then you need to make sure you come and seek extra help. All right, so here's a picture of the coordinate plane. This picture is also in your notes. We are going to fill in all of these boxes that you see. We're also going to fill in all of the vocabulary terms, starting with coordinate plane. The coordinate plane is this entire grid, and it's formed by the intersection of two number lines. There is a horizontal number line and a vertical number line. The x-axis is the horizontal number line, so please label that here. A lot of people remember it because it is horizontal like the horizon. Next is the y-axis. The y-axis is the vertical number line. Well, that's not going to work. Some people remember that because they think y to the sky. So somehow you need to make sure that you commit it to memory that the x-axis is horizontal and the y-axis is vertical, y to the sky. Other people for the x-axis say, oh, like a pirate searches for buried treasure and looks for the X on the ground. And so X marks the spot. The horizontal axis runs parallel, or like the ground does, it's flat. And so if you use that, that's great too. Now these axes, which is the plural version of axes, make 4 quadrants. Now the quadrants are labeled with Roman numerals. So Super Bowl and quadrants, that's where we use Roman numerals. This is the first quadrant over here in the upper right. Now we don't label them clockwise like the clock goes. We label them counterclockwise. So this is the second quadrant. This is the third quadrant with 3 capital I's. And this is the fourth quadrant with an I and a V written like this. So it's 4 parts. They are called quadrants, and they are labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the counterclockwise direction. Okay, moving on. Where these two axes meet, they don't just cross at any random point. They cross at the origin. So let's do this. Write the word origin in here. And the ordered pair for the origin is 0, 0. So they always meet right where the x-axis is 0 and where the y-axis is 0 on the number line. So the next vocabulary word is ordered pair. An ordered pair has an x value and a y value, and it's really a set of directions to tell us how to get to a specific point on the coordinate plane. So it gives the coordinates and the location of a point. The x value is how far we crawl on the x-axis, and the y value tells us how far we climb up or down the y-axis. Think of it as when you were a child. When you were a child, you learned how to crawl first, and then you learned how to climb up or down steps. Crawl before you climb. That's the mnemonic device we're going to use to remember how to locate points on the axis. So your x-axis shows the position to the right or to the left. We always start here at the origin when we're plotting ordered pairs. And then we do our x-coordinate first. Then we use the y-coordinate, which shows the position above or below the axis, or the... Pause the video if you need more time to get those written down. Now we're ready to start graphing. We're going to graph the point 3 and negative 4 1/2. This one is not in your notes. Watch how we do this one. All right, so if I'm going to graph the point R, that's what this R standing right here means. It does not mean take R and multiply it by that set of parentheses. This is another use for parentheses, and that's to indicate an ordered pair. So when you have two numbers separated by a comma, that's an ordered pair. And we're going to label this point R. The first number, 3, is my x-coordinate, and negative 4 1/2 is my y-coordinate. So step 1, we're going to start at the origin. So here we are, starting here. Starting here, I am going to crawl 3 places to the right, which leaves me right here. 1, 2, 3 hops right. From there, if it's a positive number, I'm going to climb up. If it's a negative number like this one, I'm going to climb down 4 1/2. So I count 4 and then 1/2 hops, and I place a dot, and I call that point R. Now I have plotted my ordered pair. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is try graphing the ordered pair negative 3, 2. This one is in your notes. You might have to sneak down one in order to find it. Negative 3, 2. Pause the video and come on back to see if you graphed it correctly. Okay, so when you graph this, you should go back 3, and from there, you need to go up or climb 2 and put your point. Make sure that your point matches where mine is. All right, for this one, where is the ordered pair? Which ordered pair names the origin? The ordered pair that names the origin is 0, 0. A student is graphing the point negative 5, negative 4. This example is in your notes. Pause the video, give it a try. Show me that you can do it. All right. When we're graphing the point negative 5, negative 4, you should have gone first to the left 5, and then you go down 4, and that's the location of that point. Make sure that yours matches mine, and let's go on. Okay. All right, so the next box in your notes talks about a student graphing the ordered pair negative 5, 4. So let's quick review. What is the x-coordinate? Everybody should fill that in. It should be negative 5. The integer 4 is the, hopefully you all see that that's the y-coordinate. Next, to graph this point, you're going to start at always the origin. Then you're going to move 5 units left. And finally, move 4 units right. Oops, I should have written the word right. There we go. And then you place your point. All right, write the coordinates of point A. In which quadrant is A located? All right, so this time you were reading the coordinate off of here. So starting at the origin, you just ask yourself, how did I get there? Well, if I started at the origin and you go left or right first, we're going to go left 2. So in my ordered pair, I'm going to write how far left or right, then how far up or down. Always the x value first. I went left 2. So -2. Then I climbed 1. And that's up or positive 1. That is the ordered pair. Now, which quadrant is it located? Remember, quadrants start being labeled in the upper right, and they move around in the counterclockwise direction. So that is in the second quadrant. Let point B and point C are yours to finish. Pause the video, give these a try, come on back. All right, point B is at the ordered pair 2, -3, and it's in quadrant 4. Point C is located at 3, 3, and that's in quadrant 1. All right, so it's time for a shapes review because we are going to do shapes on the coordinate plane. There are different types of triangles, and we talk about triangles based on their sides or on their angles. So first of all, this is a triangle that has 3 equal sides. 3 equal sides is an equilateral triangle. Write that down in your notes. This one has exactly 2 equal sides. You're going to notice that these little marks show which sides are equal. Here, these 3 are equal, so they all have that mark. This is an isosceles triangle. And lastly, we have a triangle that has no equal sides. Notice there are none of those little lines in the sides of the triangle. That is called a scalene triangle. Put that in your notes. The other way to classify triangles is by their angle. So here are the 3. This one is an acute triangle because all 3 angles measure less than 90 degrees. This triangle is a right triangle because it has exactly one 90-degree angle. And oftentimes you will see the corner having a little square in it. That square identifies that angle as being a 90-degree or right angle. All right, next. An obtuse triangle has one angle that is greater than 90 degrees. So 2 of them are acute, but as long as one is obtuse, then that entire triangle is called an obtuse triangle. Okay, so that's all for triangles. Now let's review our quadrilaterals. This first shape is a shape that is called a trapezoid because it has one set of parallel sides. An isosceles trapezoid looks like this. You're not going to have to, just a trapezoid is fine. A parallelogram is a 4-sided figure with 2 sets of parallel sides. So notice that the 2 green sides are parallel, and then the top and the bottom that are purple are also parallel. Okay, look it down here. This is a kite. This is a rhombus. The thing about a rhombus is that all 4 sides measure the exact same length and also has 2 sets of parallel sides. Whoops. And then we have a rectangle, which has 4 90-degree angles. It's a quadrilateral with 4 90-degree angles. A square is a special type of rectangle that has 4 90-degree angles and 4 congruent, which means equal, 4 congruent sides. Okay, so now we've done our shapes review. That's review from 6th grade. So why does that matter? Because you're going to be asked to graph a figure and then name the figure. So they've given me 4 ordered pairs up here. and I'm supposed to graph that. This one is in your notes. Let's graph that together. So the first one is my x value. This is my y value. So I'm going to plot the point over 1 or crawl 1 and climb down 2. There's my first point, and I will label it point T. Next, point U, I crawl back 3, and then I climb down 2. And that is going to be called point U. Point V is back 3 and up 2. We're going to call that point V. And then point W is over 1 and up 2. And we are going to call that point W. Now, when I outline that shape by connecting all of the points, I can see that this side has a side length of 4. This is 4 units. That side is 4 units, and this side is 4 units. The shape I have when they ask me to name the figure is a square. You want to give the most specific name. So I wouldn't want you to name that a rectangle when it's also a square. That's the most specific. Okay. Give the next 2 problems a try on your own. Pause the video, come on back, and compare your answers to what I have. All right, so you should have gotten these. Yours should look just like this. And this triangle looks like it is an acute scalene triangle because all of the angles are less than 90 degrees. Scalene. How about if I spell scalene properly? Scalene triangle, because none of the sides are the same length and it's clearly a triangle. That is the most specific name we know. Okay, the last question is name the given point. I've got -2, -4 because I crawled back or to the left 2 and then I climbed down 4. What quadrant is that in? That's clearly in the 3rd quadrant. Then I plotted the point W. And I got the name of that point is point W. I should have put a W there. And that's the location of that. Your homework for tonight is page 54, 5 through 16, 25 through 27. It'd be helpful to put that on graph paper. If you want to do the whole assignment on graph paper, that would be awesome. Make it a great day. This is lesson 1-10 from the Algebra Readiness textbook. For this lesson, you will need a sharpened pencil, an eraser, your notes packet. Go gather your supplies, hit pause, gather your supplies, and work on these study guide questions. When you're finished, resume the video. All right, so the first few questions on your study guide are a negative times a negative. And remember, when the signs are the same, a negative times a negative is a positive answer. And then you simply multiply the 2 numbers. 5 times 7 is 35, and my answer is positive 35. The next one, 5 times -9. The signs of the 2 numbers are different, and so a negative times a positive is a negative answer. And you multiply the 2 numbers like normal. The same rules apply for division. I noticed that 156 is negative and 12 is positive, and so my answer is negative, different signs as negative, and 156 divided by 12 is 13, so negative 13. Negative 45 divided by 9 is 5, by negative 9 is positive 5 because the signs are the same. For today's lesson, our learning target is to be able to name the coordinates in the quadrant in a coordinate plane. We also are going to be able to graph the points in a coordinate plane. So for some of you, this is review, but for 7th grade, we need to have this standard mastered. So there's a lot of vocabulary, so you might need to pause the video as we go. So as you can see on the right, you have a coordinate plane. This is in your notes packet also. We're going to start labeling all the different parts and writing down your notes. A coordinate plane is formed by the intersection of 2 number lines. I have a vertical number line and a horizontal number line. This is my horizontal, and this is my vertical number line. And they cross. The x-axis is the horizontal number line. So go ahead and over here, put in x-axis. The y-axis is my vertical number line. So let's label your vertical number line on your paper as well. And now notice that these two number lines do not just cross anywhere. They cross at a very specific point. Oh, I got ahead of myself.